umaga, huntahang soccer, usapang Olympics at talakayang basketball. Hitik na balita.
Your passions, your stories, your life, simplified with just one app. This is the future. The Giga Life in just one tap. Experience more Giga moments when you make the smart choice. With the Philippines' fastest mobile data network. How do I know it's T1? Simple, smart ako.
Ngayong umaga, huntahang football, usapang Olympics at talakayang basketball. Hitik na naman sa balitaang pangpalakasan. Ngayong umaga, di paano? Tara na, bangon na, power and play na. Magandang umaga po mga kapatid. Ako po si Noli Iyala, nagbumula sa Signal Experience Center at ito po ang Power and Play. Hatid sa inyo ng Big Boss Cement, Big Boss sa tatag, Big Boss sa tibay at ng Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum. Kamusta po sa lahat ng ating mga tagapakinig sa Radyo 5 92.3 News FM, lalong-lalo na ang ating mga taxi squad and of course, ang mga nakatutok po sa 1PH on Signal TV nationwide. Kamusta rin po sa mga nakatutok at nanonood via our Facebook live stream. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. A lot to get to this morning. At of course, ang bumulaga at magandang balita na nabasa natin kahapon, kagabi, ay yung pong muling pagbabalik ng mga fans sa larangan ng basketball sa NBA. Alam nyo ba na yung New York Knicks, 90% ng kanilang fans ay vaccinated na. Aba, isipin nyo yon. And they had about 15,000 sa kanilang Game 1, 16,000 sa Game 2. At ang kanilang plano po, kung sila ay papasok sa second round, 100% at lahat po dapat vaccinated. Sana nga ay magamit ng ating mga sports leagues itong sistemang ito para hikayatin ang ating mga kababayan na magpabakuna. Dahil napakahalaga po itong development na to, itong stage na to para sa ating kaligtasan. Speaking of bakuna, nasa balita po yan ngayong linggong ito. Kaya simulan na natin ang Power Play sa pamamagitan ng ating weekly sports highlights. Noong nakaraang Sabado, isa na namang Pinoy ang nakapasok sa Olympics. Ang taekwondo gen na si Kurt Barbosa. Maya-maya ay makakausap natin dito sa programa si Kurt para mas kilalanin pa siya at alamin ang kanyang next steps bago ang kanyang Olympic stint. Martes, nagdesisyon na si Mark Pingris na magretiro mula sa pagiging PBA player. 16 years naglaro sa PBA si Ping o ang tinatawag na Pinoy Sakuragi. Bukod sa isa siya sa mga naging haligi ng Gilas Pilipinas, si Pingris ay isang 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time Finals MVP at miyembro ng 2014 Grand Slam team ng San Mig Coffee na ngayon kilala na bilang Magnolia. Martes din nang gumawa ng balita ang isa pang naging bahagi ng Gilas Pilipinas, si Jordan Clarkson. Yan ay matapos niyang mapanalunan ang 6th Man of the Year Award sa NBA. Congratulations sa ating kabayan na si Jordan. Miyerkules, lumabas na ang fighting odds sa laban ng Manny Pacquiao at Errol Spence Jr. na gaganapin sa Agosto 21. At ang ating People's Champ ang lumalabas na dehado. Ayon sa odds makers, plus 300 ang pusta kay Pacquiao. Ibig sabihin, sa kada $100 o $100 na pusta mo, mananalo ka ng $300 kung si Pacquiao ang magwagi. Pumusta na tayo. At minus 400 naman kay Spence o sa ibang salita, kailangan mong tumaya ng $400 kay Spence para manalo ng $100. Aantabayan na natin ang labanan na yan. Huwebes, nagdesisyon na ang National Collegiate Athletics Association o NCAA na ipagpatuloy ang Season 96 ng kanilang liga ngayong taon. June 17 na magiging opening ng naturang season. Magtatagal lang ito hanggang Setyembre at karamihan ng mga laro ay skills-based competitions na gaganapin online. Ang Season 96 ay magsisilbing bilang continuity mula Season 95 ng nakarang taon papunta sa Season 97 na gaganapin sa dulo ng 2021. At Biyernes din, tuluyan nang natapos ang 3x3 Olympic Dreams ng Pilipinas matapos bigong makasungkit kahit isang panalo ang ating Gilas Pilipinas 3x3 team sa FIBA Olympic Qualifying Tournament. Kahapon, yumuko sa France at Dominican Republic ang Gilas Pilipinas para mahulog sa 0-4 and out of Olympic contention. Yan po ang ating mga balita this week sa ating sports highlights. Naku, kawawa. Sayang naman ang pinaghandaan ng ating team. Alam niyo po ako I am all for the players. I love these players at ako po'y sumusuporta sa kanila. But again, I think we have to look at the bigger picture. Yung programa po ng 3x3. And I have to say that we need to prepare longer. Sayang, nagkaroon ng pandemya. But again, hats off sa ating pong koponan na nagpunta sa Graz, Austria, Motaw Tua, Monzon, CJ Perez, Alvin Pasaol at si Santi Santillan. Come back home and we hope to see you in the PBA. Alright mga kaibigan, tuloy-tuloy po tayo. Of course, kanina nasabi natin yung laban ni Senador Manny Pacquiao na gaganapin po sa August 21. Well, ito po ang ating pupulsuhan ngayong umagang ito. Ang ating pong tanong sa ating Pulso ng Bayan, tungkol po dyan. Napakagandang laban, Senator Manny Pacquiao, itinataya muli ang kanyang karangalan laban sa undefeated na Errol Spence Jr. Kaya po ang ating pupulsuhan ngayong araw pong ito, tama ba ang naging desisyon na si Errol Spence Jr. ang piniling labanan ni Manny Pacquiao? Ulitin ko po yan ha. Tama bang si Errol Spence Jr. ang piniling labanan ni Manny Pacquiao? Mag-text lamang po sa aming hotline. Kung gusto niyo po makasama sa ating puntahan, sa ating talakayan, mamaya ay babasahin natin yung inyong mga komentaryo. 0949-691-4956 o di kaya mag-post sa aming Facebook page, sa Power and Play with Com Noli Iyala, sa Radyo 5 and of course sa 1PH. Mamaya po, abangan nyo yan. Alright, at this point, mga kapatid, syempre, lagi itong ating paborito, ang ating unang segment of the show, ang Fast Take, kung saan ang opinion po ng mga taong nasa likod ng balitang pampalakasan ang ating maririnig. At ngayon pong araw na to, maswerte na naman tayo, mga balik fast takers na naman ito. Mga kaibigan natin at kapatid natin sa hanap buhay, walang iba kung hindi si Normie Riego at si Ruben Terrado. Magandang umaga, Normie and Ruben. Thank you for joining us again this morning.
Good morning, Com. Good morning po sa inyo.
Alam nyo, let me ask you first, Ruben, no, itong balita tungkol kay sa 3x3 natin, how did you take that loss?
Com, of course, very disappointing, especially parang kumbaga yung start natin to do sa build-up, napakaganda with Chooks to go, supporting it, and into the lead-up, ang dami natin sinalihan. Meron pa tayong mga inorganize na tournament just to make it to the OQT, but ayun, very unfortunate na rin ang nangyari dahil may pandemic and hindi nakapag-prepare yung ating team. So, of course, very disappointed, and hopefully sa next Olympics yung mga lessons learned ma-implement doon sa sa lead up to the Olympics, Com.
Very true. Talagang sana nga matuto tayo dito at magkaroon talaga ng tutok dahil alam natin, kaya natin ang 3x3. Mongolia nga Mongolia, mga kapatid, pumapasok sa 3x3 competitions among the best teams in the world. Normie, 730 athletes na nabakunahan. Maganda bang balita to?
Siyempre ko, magandang balita. Aside from the fact na, ayun, mas safe na nga sila, ibig sabihin lang nun, matatanggal na yun dun sa iisipin nila. So mababawasan na yung mental baggage nila, which in turn will help them prepare para dun sa mga magiging bakbakan nila sa Olympics o SEA Games man yan.
Well, nakakatubang balita talaga yan. And kudos again to the POC, to the PSC, and of course sa ating pamahalaan sa kanilang pagbibigay ng bakuna sa ating mga national athletes. Ngayon makakapaghanda na sila. And talking about paghahanda, handa na ba kayo? Ito na, fast take na. And this is our fast take kung saan ang opinion nyo ang mahalaga. Walang mali, walang tama, bato-bato sa langit, tamaan, huwag magagalit. At ito ang ating unang issue for the morning. Pinag-uusapan natin ang Pacquiao-Spence na laban. So far, odds makers are saying si Manny ang dehado. Ang tanong, ano ang inyong forecast sa labang Pacquiao at Spence ngayong Agosto? I will begin with you, Ruben. You have 1 minute. Go!
Como as a Filipino, I'll always be cheering for Manny Pacquiao. Even at age 42, he never fails to amaze us kahit yung mga mas batang opponents niya, tinatalo niya, and he always maintains yung kanyang speed and quickness sa ring. But ako, para sa akin, for this fight, I think Errol Spence will win this one. Bata kasi si Errol at 31. In the past few fights, napatunayan naman ni Errol na he can win in short distance and in a methodical way. So I think Errol Spence ako for this fight. And but again, I'm not discounting Manny Pacquiao. Nabanggit ko kanina yung kanyang speed and quickness, kahit at 42, nandun pa din. Pero I think yung 2-year layoff niya, yung 2 years na hindi siya lumaban would make a big difference dito sa fight na to. So ako, for me, it's Errol Spence winning over Manny Pacquiao.
All right. Well, tough words, and I certainly appreciate the opinion, Ruben. Ikaw, Normie, same question. Dehado si Senador Manny Pacquiao, and maraming ika nga nakikiayon kay Ruben doon sa kanyang opinion dahil dehado nga ang odds makers para kay Manny Pacquiao. So same question, ano ang forecast mo sa Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence Jr. na laban? Normie, you have 1 minute. Go.
Ako, gagaya lang din ako kay Sir Ben, no? Kasi tama-tama lahat na sinabi niya. Pero una-una sa lahat, agree din, you can never count out Manny Pacquiao. Napatunayan na niya sa tagal ng karera niya na mas malalaki man yan, mas bata man yan, sino man itapat mo sa kanya, may chances siya palagi. Pero yung odds na yan, kaya ginawa ng odds makers kasi may rason. Mas malaki yung Errol Spence. Di hamak, ang laki ng Errol Spence kaysa Manny Pacquiao. Mas bata. At kakalaban lang noong December 2020 compared kay Manny Pacquiao na may layoff, 2-year layoff yan. Malaking bagay yan, especially sa boxing. At isa pa si Errol Spence, undefeated dito. Wala pang nakaka-figure out dito. Count out Manny Pacquiao at your own risk, pero mukhang dehado talagang ating pambansang kamao dito sa laban na ito.
Well, mabigat ang laban ni Senador Manny Pacquiao. I agree with you at this point. We don't even know kung anong kondisyon ni Senator Manny. But kagaya ng sinabi ni Ruben, kagaya ng sinabi ni Normie, Pilipino tayo. Hanggang sa kaduluduluan, susuporta natin si Senador Manny Pacquiao. But again, ibang klase ang kanyang lalabanan, and we certainly wish him all the best. All right, let's go to our second fast take issue of the morning. Lipat naman tayo sa NBA. Alam nyo, may 3 ng arenas sa NBA na nag-ban ng mga fans. Kapapasok lamang ng mga fans, ha? Yung Utah Jazz, meron daw mga racist remarks na ginawa kay Ja Morant. Yung Philadelphia, naghagis ng popcorn kay Russell Westbrook. At of course, yung pagdura. Pagdura na nangyari doon sa isa pang si Trae Young sa New York. So, ang tanong dito sa ating second fast take, nararapat lang ba na hakbang ang mga ginawa ng NBA teams at paano nila maiiwasan muli ang mga pangyayaring ito? I will begin with you, Normie. 1 minute. Go.
Tama-tama lang yun. As in, wala ka naman sasabi kundi dapat lang maban yung mga yon sa kahit saang lugar o oras na tapunan ka ng pagkain o duduraan ka, magagalit ka talaga di ba? So, and we have to give props nga para kila Westbrook, para sa security, na at least na-restrain nila. Kasi kung tatandaan natin dyan, at dyan nagsimula yung Malice at Dapalas noong 2004. So, buti na lang at hindi nangyari yun. So, tama, okay lang naman yung magmura ka siguro, ibu mo, wag lang yung mga racist remark, wag mong duduraan. Bilang fans, importante na supportan kasi natin yung team natin. So, tamang-tama lang yung ban, pero for me, kulang pa nga yung indefinite eh. Dapat lifetime na yan. Kung nagawa mo yun, bawal ka na dapat manood. I-identify dapat yung pangalan mo, i-publicize. At hindi lang sa arena na yun, sa lahat ng arena siguro para matigil talaga yung ganyang gawain ng mga fans na unruly at hindi naman dapat mangyari.
Maraming salamat, Normie. Alam mo, nagsabi na nga si Julius Randle, subukan nilang gawin sa akin yan ngayon sa Atlanta. Baka magkagulo tayo. So, yan lang ang iniiwasan, of course, ng NBA. Same question, Ruben. Dapat lang ba yung pagkakaban ng mga fans ng mga NBA teams at ano dapat ang gawing hakbang para hindi na maulit muli ito? 1 minute. Go.
It's quite unfortunate na may nangyayaring ganito, especially nagse-celebrate tayo with the return of the fans sa NBA. I think siguro in my opinion, kaya nangyayari to, maybe it's because yung fans have this thirst for the game na they are very passionate at this point in time dahil 1 year silang wala sa venue. But again, it's not an excuse. Hindi pwedeng ganun na mangyayari na duduraan mo yung player, you'll say racist remarks against one, and tatapunan mo ng popcorn. I think na yon, medyo foul na yon. And para sa akin, tama lang yung ginawa ng mga teams na iban sila. Kailangan may masampulan Hindi pwedeng may masampulan dito dahil medyo over yung ginawa nila. And ako para rin sa akin, I agree with Normie na parang dapat din i-publicize. And again, siguro hindi dapat indefinite suspension. Dapat lifetime ban din ang impose sa kanila. Kailangan talaga ko may masampulan dito, Kom.
Well, alam natin na tama ka, Ruben, pent-up emotions. Ang tagal ko naghintay na manood ng basketball muli, but it's still not excusable. Yung kanyang klaseng asal, nangyari na yan sa PBA, alam natin yan, at alam din natin ang ginawa ng PBA tungkol sa mga fans na katulad niyan. Alright, let's go to our final fast take issue of the morning. At ito naman ay tungkol sa ating local boy. Si Mark Pingris ay nag-anunsyo na ng kanyang retirement mula sa PBA, mula sa paglalaro ng basketball. So, ang ating tanong sa inyo, ano ang inyong paborito Mark Pingris moment sa kanyang career? I will begin with you, Ruben. 1 minute, go!
Kom, ang daming pwedeng maging memorable moment when it comes to Mark Pingris. Yun nga yung finals MVP and being a member of the Grand Slam team ng Sanmi Coffee. But Kom, I'll go with the 2013 FIBA Asia Championship during the semifinals against Korea. Very iconic na yun yung highlight na yun na Mark Pingris scoring that putback of a miss by Jason Castro. Yung boses ni Magumar John, lagi natin naririnig yun. Very iconic moment. And but of course, pati rin yung press conference niya after the game na talagang emotional siya, umiyak siya with Rani Del De Ocampo. Talagang dun mo makikita yung puso Doon talaga nagsimula. He was the epitome of puso ng Gilas. And don't forget, yung game niya against Korea, he had a great game noon. 17 points and 10 rebounds, I believe. So, yun, para sa akin, Kom, yung semifinals against Korea, yung para sa akin, most memorable moment na doon sa career ni Mark Pingris. Congratulations, Mark. Salamat sa'yo.
Ikilabutan ako sa sinasabi mo, Ruben, talaga naalala ko pa yun, at tama ka. Yung salita ni Magu at of course yung hiyaw. Sabi nga ni Seb Sarmenta, and the crowd roars, di ba? Kaya talagang kinikilabutan ako. Normie, same question. What is your favorite Mark Pingris moment sa kanyang career? 1 minute, go!
Tama-tama si Sir Ben. Perfect na siya yung epitome. Si Mark Pingris ang epitome ng puso. So lahat tayong mga fans, maraming alaala kay Ping. Pero for me, bilang media, ang pinakapaborito ko kay Ping kasi pag i-interviewin mo siya, siguradong may quote ka. Siguradong may storya ka. Kasi si Mark Pingris, kapag kakausapin ganyan, magaling magsalita, kakaiba yung mga sinasabi. So every time kakausapin mo si Ping, panigurado, solve na solve yung pagkuha mo sa kanya. So, ang mga favorite quote ko galing sa kanya, lagi niya sinasabi, di ako naniniwala sa talento, naniniwala ako sa puso, mga ganyan. Tapos, isa pang memorable for me, after niyang matalo sa San Miguel, kay Junmar, sinabi niya, ikikil ko yan mamaya. Speaking about Dota pala yon. So, mga ganyan ang mamimiss natin kay Ping. Congratulations sa'yo, Ping. Pinoy Sakuragi, mamimiss ka namin.
Every moment kay Mark Pingris has been memorable. Tama ka, Normie, talaga namang yung mga salita ni Mark nakakataba ng puso. My favorite moment was the first time I saw him. Naglalaro siya for the Cebuana Luwilier national team ng BAP, Invitational. Kinuha namin as a guest team sa PBA. Si Mark, makapal pa yung buhok Makapal pa yung buhok ni Mark. And I said, sino yun? Kasi kung tumakbo, humasil, andun, lumalaban sa mga malalaking import, it was just amazing na nakita ko. And ever since that time, his passion, his energy, his commitment to the game has made basketball a lot better. Congratulations, Mark. Normie Riego ng ESPN5, Ruben Terrado ng Spin.ph. Maraming salamat for joining us this morning sa Fast Take.
Maraming salamat, Kom. Thank you po.
Good morning, Kom.
Good morning. Ayan po mga kaibigan natin, mga kapatid sa hanap buhay, si Ruben at si Normie sa Fast Take. Ang gaganda na naman ng kanilang mga pinaalala sa atin, lalong-lalo na kay Mark Pingris, and of course, ang mga diskusyon tungkol kay Senador Manny Pacquiao. Alright, at this point mga kaibigan, we'll get to our next interview right away. Last week, we were supposed to get him. We had a little bit of a problem, but this week, as promised, he is here with us. Many have been talking about Kai Sotto, Kouame, Angelo Kouame, and many, many more. And we'd like to thank, of course, SBP's Butch Antonio and Coach Mark Solano for making this possible. He is with us today, the other big of the future of Philippine basketball, AJ Edu, live from Toledo, Ohio. Good morning. Good morning there, AJ.
Good morning. How you doing?
Thanks so much for joining us this morning. We missed you last week, but you're here, and that's all that matters. Uh, AJ, let me begin with this, and I think many people are asking about this, so I'll go straight to the point. You have been, unfortunately, you've had injuries to yours. That's why you had to redshirt in your second year. You had that in your third year in the NCAA. You had a meniscus tear last year versus Oakland. How is your condition, AJ, right now, and what are you already allowed to do at the moment?
Well, I'm glad to say, first of all, that I've had like a really good team around me. My coaches, the doctors, and the medical staff have just been really great. So I'm glad to say that I'm fully recovered now. I've been able to. I've slowly been building up. So recently, I was playing 1v1, so going to 2v2 and then 3v3. So slowly been building up over the over the last month, and just looking forward to having a great summer where I can prepare myself for the upcoming season and hopefully have a completely healthy season.
Uh, After all that has happened, AJ, two major injuries to your knees, and obviously that has to take a toll on you, not only physically but mentally. How are you coping, with that? Is there still some concern in your physical state?
Yeah, obviously it was tough the first time and the second time, I'd say as well. Just having to cope with that. But I mean, I'm a man of faith. I believe that God has a plan for me, a plan to prosper me. So despite those tough situations, I believe that no matter how hard it is, if I persevere through that, the blessings will come. And so far, this recovery process has been great. I feel great. I feel like on the court, I see it a lot differently than I used to. Being from watching on the sidelines, you get to look at the court differently, more like a coach. So I feel like my IQ has built over this last couple of years, and I'm just there's not really any concern right now, and yeah.
Well, that's really good to hear, AJ.
Mhm.
That you're up and about and you're ready to go. How is the family supporting you? How is Mom Josie supporting you in your recovery?
No, their support is always amazing. I mean, they were there from day one. They were on the phone with me after I had surgery. They were on the phone with me as I started running again, and they were on the phone with me every day now that I'm playing again. So I mean, the family support has been amazing, and that's also a big reason why I've been able to cope with these two difficult injuries.
All right. We know your coach in Toledo has already said that he is expecting a big comeback from you. So aside from your conditioning right now, AJ, what other aspects of your game are you planning, or are you already taking care of, or at least focusing on as you get back to playing basketball?
I mean, the big focus right now with me has just been increasing my overall skill set. So there's not been anything specifically, just making sure I improve my ball handling, making sure I improve my shooting, making sure I also improve my post game as well. You can't forget that. So, I mean, it's just been trying to increase my skills overall. And I feel like in general, these past 2 years has given me more time to focus on the foundation stuff. So the ball handling, the dribbling, the shooting, all of the basic foundation. So overall, I feel like in general, my skills in general has improved.
All right. Uh, Everybody knows that you are being, your future in Philippine basketball is something that many people are betting on. And of course, you've played with the national team in the youth program. So the question is, have you been in touch with Gilas management, and when do you expect to be available once again for the national team?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, they've been keeping in contact with me, just checking in, making sure I'm doing okay. They've also done a good job, just making sure I'm handling the situation well, mentally. And I've been in touch for sure. And I mean, we'll see. I definitely do want to. Obviously, I do want to play for Gilas in the near future. This coming summer might be a little soon, seeing as I basically just recovered from my injury. But definitely in the future, the plan is to be a part of Gilas.
Gilas is fielding an all cadets team. That means a non-professional team in the FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers in the coming Olympic qualifying tournament. And obviously, if you had been healthy, your name would have been on that list. What is your reaction to this program now that Gilas is having of really developing a core of young players and perhaps getting your name back in that list?
I think it's being handled very well. I think Coach Tab is doing a great job, and the whole Gilas management are doing a great job. I mean, we're thinking about 2023, like we're thinking about the future. So I understand that you have to build that core of players, and I feel like it's definitely heading in the right direction. Like these core of players will build that chemistry, and these tournaments will help develop that experience of FIBA tournaments as well. So, I mean, I'm hoping I can be a part of that very soon, and we'll see what the future holds.
Kai Sotto, of course, the other power in that combination that the future holds for Philippine basketball, has opted to go to the National Basketball League. It's a different pathway towards, I guess, the same goal for you and him to play in the NBA one day. What is your reaction to that? Do you think that it was a good choice for Kai Sotto?
Yeah, I was very, very happy for him. Immediately I heard the news, I made sure I contacted him and just congratulated him because I feel like it's a very, very good step for him. I mean, we've seen it work before, like LaMelo Ball was he the number 2 pick? He came from the NBL, and I think this year they've got a couple draft picks coming out of there. I think a point guard from the team that he's about to join is actually going to be a draft pick. So I mean, it's definitely a pathway that is proven. So I mean, it's just up to him really. Like the sky's the limit with him. As everyone knows, the potential that he has is incredible. So I mean, it's just up to him for real. But the pathway that he's going in is definitely, I feel like, the right direction.
All right, and of course, the Philippines just got another naturalized player, a young guy from the Ivory Coast. Ange Kouame has been naturalized. He's now eligible to play for Gilas. Are you excited with the prospect of teaming up with Kai and Angelo Kouame to play for the national team, particularly as we host the FIBA World Cup in 2023?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting him personally, but having watched a little bit of like Ateneo play in college basketball, it's going to be really exciting. I feel like just the options that we have, you can never have too many options, especially going into a World Cup or FIBA tournament. So having these options is just going to be really exciting. And me personally, I'm just very excited for 2023.
Well, you're not the only one, AJ, for sure. There's 100 million Filipino fans that are rooting for Gilas and hoping that you would be able to play definitely. And of course, before I let you go, let's move forward. What are the goals that you've set for yourself this season? Obviously, the Rockets are waiting for you. What does that look like for you in the next few months?
For me, the number one goal is obviously just to have a healthy season. I feel like that's something I've definitely missed over the past couple seasons. But for sure, I would like to have a bigger impact than I had my freshman year. I had a great freshman year. I really enjoyed it. I came off the bench, played a good amount of minutes. This year, I'm obviously going to have a bigger role, the same sort of role that I was going to have last year before the injury. So the goal for me is just to take advantage of that role and have an impact, both defensively. My freshman year, I had a big impact. I was up there in the conference with blocks. So this year, I'd say I want to have more of an impact offensively. And then as a team, collectively, our goal is to make the NCAA tournament. Like, unfortunately, the way it works, like we did win the regular season MAC last year, but you have to win your conference tournament to make it to the NCAA tournament. And unfortunately, we didn't win the conference tournament. So the number one goal for us is to make it to the NCAA tournament and be part of that big dance.
All right. Because you redshirted in your second year, AJ, does that mean you still keep so many years of eligibility? And will you be playing until you graduate with Toledo?
So I do have 2 years of eligibility left because of that redshirt year.
All right.
The plan is, so right now the plan is to graduate first, and then obviously I have aspirations to try and play in the NBA. So we'll see from there. But honestly, I'm just gonna take it season by season right now. And this season, I just want to have a healthy and a good season.
Well, we certainly hope that for you, AJ, health and of course strength, and to come back
Thank you.
stronger in your career. We look forward to seeing you in a national team uniform. We look forward to seeing your name being called in the NBA. Thank you so much for joining us today, AJ, and we wish
Thank
all
you
the
very
best.
much for having me.
Thank
All
you.
right, take care. Bye.
Yan po mga kaibigan, si AJ Edu, ang ating isa pang inaasahan sa mga darating na taon pagdating sa Gilas basketball. What a prospect, 6'11", skilled. He can run the floor, he can score, he can defend, and he's just getting all that experience sa US NCAA. We certainly wish him all the best. All right, at this point, mga kaibigan, bago tayo mag-break, we'll give you a little bit of a reminder from SMART. Puso Pilipinas is a movement to celebrate the Filipino athlete. It is powered by SMART. Ganun din po ang NBA.com, which is also powered by SMART. Follow them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Get a chance to win exclusive Puso Pilipinas merch by sharing their Facebook page in your social media accounts with hashtag Puso Pilipinas. Isa pa pong karagdagang paalala, the Giga Life app is the latest mobile app from Smart that lets you discover and enjoy your passions with the different Giga promos. It can be downloaded and used by Smart Postpaid, Smart Prepaid, Bro Prepaid, and subscribers via the Apple or Google Play Store. What can the Giga Life app do for me? Check your balance, monitor your current subscription, top up using debit credit card, subscribe to the latest Giga promos, monitor your data consumption. Auto-detect your mobile number when you are connected to Smart Network, one-tap subscription to the most popular offer, Giga Video 99, only from Smart. Maraming salamat sa mga taga-Smart sa kanilang pagsuporta sa Power and Play. And we will be back when we return. Himayin po natin ang first round ng NBA playoffs. Dito po sa Power and Play, hatid sa inyo ng Big Boss Cement at ng Cherry Loom.
Welcome to the Giga Life. Your passions, your stories, your life, simplified with just one app. This is the future. The Giga Life in just one tap. Experience more Giga moments when you make the smart choice. With the Philippines' fastest mobile data network. How do I know it's T1? Simple, smart ako. Welcome to the Giga Life. Your passions, your stories, your life, simplified with just one app. This is the future. The Giga Life in just one tap. Experience more Giga moments when you make the smart choice. With the Philippines' fastest mobile data network. How do I know it's T1? Simple, smart ako.
And welcome back to Power and Play, mga kapatid. Tuloy-tuloy po tayo dito. But by the way, I'd like to greet a belated happy birthday sa ating mga kaibigan, si Roman Santos at saka si Ricky Dicini ng isa pong happy birthday. Alright, at this point mga kaibigan, pasok muna natin. Before we bring in, ito lang hindi, mamaya na natin ipasok yan kasi medyo hanapin natin. I'd like to bring in already our guests at this moment, mga kaibigan. Walang iba kung hindi ang ating mga NBA analysts na galing pa sa yung ating resident NBA analyst mula sa Chicago, si Homer Sayson of Spin.ph, and of course, our resident NBA analyst dito sa Signal TV, si Coach Charles Tiu. Magandang umaga, Charles and Homer. Good to have you with us on Power and Play this morning.
Good morning, Com. Good morning, Com. Good morning, Homer. Nice to finally meet you. I love reading all your work, by the way. But thank you
Same
for
here.
having me.
I was gonna say, Commissioner Charles Tiu belongs to coaching the PBA. Unfortunately,
Yes.
The PBA is environmental friendly. They like to recycle. So if there's a team, the team that wants a bold new voice, a young voice, a very dynamic voice, Charles Tiu. I hope he has a calling card para mabigay niya sa PBA teams.
Talaga, hindi PBA pag-usapan natin. Charles, although I really agree with you, Charles deserves to coach in a higher level. He has coached in that level, of course, assistant coach with Raiko Toraman before sa Barako Bull, and of course, he's coached the mighty team in the Jones Cup, so he deserves it, and I certainly wish that for him. But ang ating pag-usapan, we've got a lot of things to get to, Homer and Charles, ay ang first round ng NBA playoffs. But before I get to that, very quickly, let me just get your opinion on this. How did you, or what parts of the play-in you feel can still be, tweaked in that last, play-in tournament that we had? I'll begin with you, Charles.
I love the idea, but to me, maybe I'd like to see a bit more of a reward for both the 7th and the 8th seed. So maybe for me lang, moving forward, baka sana, if the gap between the 8th seed and the 9th seed are too big, then you can scrap that. Or parang there should be like maybe a game lead. If you're up by 4 games or 5-game differential, ang 8 seed sa 9 seed, then baka wag na. Or pag 5-game differential yung 7th and 8th seed, automatic 7th seed na yun. I don't know. Maybe something like that. Para may premium naman for performing well in the regular season.
That was actually the reaction there. And Homer, I want to get your reaction very quickly, very briefly. Dahil of course, alam natin, Golden State fought for that 8th spot. Then they just lost to the Memphis Grizzlies. What do you think of the play-in tournament? At ano pwede pang improve dun sa play-in tournament na yan?
Well, the main goal of the tournament, the play-in tournament, Coach Comnoli, is to prevent this tanking. If you look at what happened, the teams that were supposed to be resting already, they were forced to play. And because that goal was achieved, I think it was a success. Pero tama si Coach Charles. You cannot penalize a team when he's 5 games ahead of the other team, di ba? So I think in that regard, they have to minimize that window. Yun lang, minimize that window, like Coach Charles said.
And we
Other
certainly,
than that, it's perfect.
Tama yan. I totally agree with the both of you. And it's certainly, the play-in tournament is certainly going to be here with us because napaka-successful. Tama si Homer. It prevented tanking. We see a lot of stars, a lot of meaningful games at the end of the season. So It's good for the fans, it's good for the game, it's good for the players. All right, let me go to the first round playoffs already na nangyayari. And I'm sure you're so excited. It has been a tremendous first round, except for a few series, but ang ganda na nangyayari. Right now, the Knicks and the Hawks are playing, and the Hawks are up by 15 at the moment. But let me go first to the West, to the West Eastern Conference, kung saan ang Utah ay tabla. They were shocked. The same thing with Denver. They were shocked in game number 1. But of course, Denver won game 3. They're up 2-1 now. Homer, who has the momentum in the series? And do you think that the underdogs can pull off an upset here?
Well, Denver, when you play 7-game series, Commissioner, the idea is kinukuha yung elemento ng chamba. So almost always the better team wins. And in this series, the Denver Nuggets are infinitely the better team. What I like about what the Denver Nuggets are doing, Commissioner, is this. When they lost Jamal Murray, the knee-jerk reaction is, pag mawawalan ka ng best player mo, the knee-jerk reaction is to replace your best player. You can't do that with Jamal Murray. So what they did was, they summoned Campaso, itong point guard na tinatawag nilang El Mago, the magician, coming from Europe. So we told him, we don't want you to replace Jamal Murray. We just want you to manage our team. Don't make turnovers, facilitate. And that's exactly what he's doing, Commissioner. He had a little testy game 1, but in game 2, he rebounded. And overall, he's averaging 10 points and 6 assists per game. And that's exactly what the Denver Nuggets needed. Kasi nandoon naman si Jokic. He's averaging 35 a game. And then you have Aaron Gordon and you have Porter. So at the end of the day, to answer your question, I still like the Denver Nuggets, Commissioner.
All right. On the other hand, Charles, Utah was shocked. And obviously, they're the number 1 seed overall. Tinalo sila ng Memphis that came in from the play-in. What do you think about that series?
Well, I really think that Memphis actually matches up better with the Jazz compared to if the Warriors had make it. So, because Memphis is a tough team-oriented team, and they have a budding superstar in Ja Morant who, just had a 47-point performance. I think they'll give the Jazz a hard time, but I don't think they have what it takes right now to pull off the upset. Maybe they'll win another game or 2, but I think the Jazz, after their heartbreak last year, and now with Donovan Mitchell back, I think they'll still be able to take this series.
All right, well, everybody's expecting that, pero of course, nakakagulat yung ginawa ng Memphis coming from a play-in tournament and getting game number 1. Yun ang kagandahan ng playoffs, very unpredictable. Let's go to the Los Angeles side. And it's been a tale of 2 teams. And Homer, the Clippers, oh my goodness, the Clippers, they're down sa Dallas Mavericks 0-2. And this is a team that chose the Mavericks in round number 1. What happened to them, Homer?
Commissioner, the LA Clippers is the biggest example why sports fans turn to alcohol. They are such a source of desperation and sadness and grief, Commissioner. Here's what happened. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, they're averaging 63 points per game in this series. The problem is, after that, wala na. We have been used to, the depth that we have been used to seeing with the LA Clippers is no longer there. They lost Montrezl Harrell. They lost Lou Williams. This is not the same team, Commissioner. And then, not only that, yung problema nila last season, they blamed Coach Rivers. Tyronn Lue is no different. In fact, the Clippers got worse with Tyronn Lue. So, yun ang nangyari. And then I think, Commissioner, the biggest turnaround. The biggest turnaround in this series, Commissioner, is, I think, Luka Doncic. And in fairness to Luka Doncic, regardless of what the Clippers are doing, Luka Doncic has crossed the bridge between stardom and superstardom. Mahirap, 35 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 9 assists per game. And they have no answers. They have no answers for Luka Doncic.
Yeah, Charles, alam naman natin that Kawhi Leonard was brought to the Clippers to lead this team to a title. They're not talking about a simple conference finals. They're looking for a championship. But when you look at Kawhi, do you think that he inspires this team? At makakabalik pa ba ang LA Clippers sa Dallas?
I have a weird gut feeling that they'll be able to pull off a comeback, but this is probably the biggest surprise to me. I never thought the Mavs would be able to take a 2-0 lead, but I agree with Homer 100%. I think Luka Doncic has been the biggest difference. But with regards to Kawhi and the Clippers, I don't know if managing all their injuries so much and taking care of their body no regular season, not getting the chemistry with their lineups, it will end up hurting them. They haven't played together much. Kawhi's been playing well. Paul George has just been okay. But you're right. I don't know if he really inspires the team or if there's something wrong internally. But maybe I'd like to see different lineups. They've been roasting Zubac. Maybe more Ibaka. Maybe more Batum with the five. Kasi wala naman silang point guard talaga sa offense eh. So they don't really need the Pat Bev there who's too small to guard anyway. What if you put George, Morris, Leonard, Batum, and Ibaka together? Just switch everything. Because Dallas is just roasting them on every pick and roll.
And let me interject also, Commissioner and Coach Charles. Kawhi Leonard is not the same leader like LeBron James, na talagang verbal, na talagang, he's not demonstrative, he's not verbal. So Kawhi Leonard just sits there and does nothing. The kind of leadership that Kawhi Leonard, as we have seen with the Toronto Raptors, is, leadership by example. But sometimes it is important to be that kind of leader where you marshal the troops, when parang binuhay mo yung patay. Na, come on, let's do this, we can do this. Unfortunately, Kawhi is not. And the same thing with Paul George. He is not the same type of leader. So I think, yun ang problema ng LA Clippers. And I agree also. Why the heck is Morris staying on the bench? Didn't even play in Game 2. I was just surprised with that, Commissioner. Like I said, the great coaching mind that is Charles. You tinker with your lineup. That's why you pay 15 people to be in the lineup. Why are you using only 9? Why are you playing 6 people na hindi mo naman gagamitin?
And I do not understand the matchup. Ang ginagawa lang ng Dallas, they just switch. They put a screen and they switch Doncic to Pat Beverly at kinakain na siya parang free meal ng fast food si Pat Beverly. And that's just not good coaching from Tai Lu. Anyway, let's go to the other side of the Los Angeles affair. The Los Angeles Lakers are playing like they are the 2nd seed, not the 7th seed. Are the Lakers back to the bubble Lakers that won the championship last year, Charles? And can the Phoenix Suns match up with the size ng LA?
I think they're getting there to their peak form. Obviously, si Kentavious Caldwell-Pope just got hurt yesterday, so baka masakit yun. But I like what you pointed out. The Lakers definitely used their size yesterday. 51-36 rebounding edge. Points in the paint. Gabe, they really dominated inside. They're tough. I feel they didn't capitalize on that in game number 1. Finally, Drummond was much better the next 2 games. No, it's just sad. I think a lot of people would use the Chris Paul injury na he's not 100% na baka yan yung dahilan why the Suns are losing. But the Lakers are just outplaying them. Cameron Payne's been playing for Paul and he's been great. But I do think if Chris Paul gets healthy, though, maybe they'd have a chance. But I don't really see the Suns beating the Lakers this series.
Homer, when LeBron was out and AD was out, ang feeling ko parang walang fluidity yung Lakers. Parang hindi nila alam kung saan sila pupunta. But you see now the fluidity coming back. You see the chemistry of the team. Is this the Lakers that will scare anyone in the playoffs?
Yes. Itong Lakers, Commissioner, they remind me of the difference between a movie studio and a streaming giant. Why do people go to Netflix and why do they still go to the movies? The difference is the Lakers have the movie stars. They have LeBron and Anthony Davis. And the movie stars are the ticket. Ito namang Phoenix Suns. Look at Devin Booker, Commissioner. He scored 70, 60, 50 during the regular season. And everybody was like, oh, Devin Booker is so good. But when it came to the playoffs, he could not deliver. And ito namang si Jay Crowder, who was supposed to be the LeBron stopper, who was supposed to be the more experienced, because si Ayton and Devin Booker have never been to the playoffs. And then itong si Jay Crowder. But Jay Crowder, Commissioner, in 2 games, is 7 of 27 from the field. In some other countries, you go to jail for that kind of percentage. So the experience of the Lakers and the enormity of the moment for the Phoenix Suns is just too much. That's why in my column today, Spin.ph, I called it in 5 games. The Phoenix Suns will never win a game in this series. ever again.
Kawawa naman itong si Chris Paul, ano? He's been wanting to get to that chip, but again, shoulder meeting the Lakers at their peak. Naku, pambihira, nakakaawa talaga. Anyway, let's go to the other side of the playoffs.
Commissioner, don't feel sorry for him. He's making $40 million this
Well,
season.
yeah. But as I say, money does not buy everything, Homer.
But,
All right.
it allows you to choose your misery.
Let's go to the Eastern Conference side. We're looking at three teams, the top three seeds rampaging through the Eastern Conference. Wala pa silang mga talo, the Sixers, the Nets, and the Bucks. Who do you think has been playing the best basketball? They've been playing very good, all of them. But who is playing the best basketball so far? Homer, I'll begin with you.
I like the Nets. Because the Bucks, they lost game one. The Nets have not lost game one. And the Nets, Commissioner, they are playing their stars with limited minutes. And despite of the limited minutes, Harden, Durant, Kyrie Irving, 71 points a game. Nobody playing more than 35 minutes a game. Joe Harris, 20.5 minutes a game, 20.5 points per game. Tapos 47% from the field, 34% from three. They are just so hard to stop, Commissioner. And if you are the Celtics, you make... What I heard, Commissioner, is kanina kausap ni Jason Tatum, yung agent niya. Travel agent, Commissioner, he's making plans for vacation. This game is gonna go... This is going to be a 4-game sweep. Kasi si Jason Tatum, meron siyang eye injury, Commissioner, because he was spoke. He will play today. But let me tell you this, kahit na may mag-double LASIK surgery si Jason Tatum, they cannot win this series against the Brooklyn Nets. It's gonna be a 4-game sweep.
Buti na lang travel agent na kausap, hindi sports agent. Akala ko he was already traveling to another team. Charles, who do you think is playing the best basketball among the top three seeds?
Actually, I would go with the Bucks right now. Obviously, the Sixers, they're facing a much weaker opponent in the Wizards. Nobody expects the Wizards to win any games. The Nets, it's a given. Homer's right. The Celtics have really no chance. They haven't been playing well. But the Bucks are 3-0 actually, Homer. They haven't lost a game. They won over the Heat nung first game. But everybody, well, the Heat are the team that they're the defending Eastern Conference finalists, Eastern Conference champions. Everybody expected them to give the Bucks a much tougher time. In game one, they did a good job, but the last two games, the Bucks have just dominated them, as in they're outplaying them. And the Heat are a very good team, so the Bucks have impressed me the most. Of course, Dante DiVincenzo is now out for the playoffs, so that's a big loss for them because he's their starter. But the big three of Giannis, Middleton, and Holiday are really solid right now. They're a legit big three for now.
Well,
The only
yeah, go ahead, Homer.
Commissioner,
Quickly.
the only reason why I didn't pick the Bucks over the Brooklyn Nets is because in game one, they made only 5 3-point shots, and it is a template on how you beat this team. If you can limit their 3-point production, they can be beaten. The only reason why I chose them, kaya nga naging close yun, because in game one, the Miami Heat beat them at the 3-point shooting, 20-5, and they rebounded 38-17 in games 2 and 3. But they can be beaten. If those shots don't fall, they can be beaten. Brooklyn cannot be beaten so far in these 2 games. Kaya lang, but I agree with Coach Charles. 3-0 is better than 2-0.
You didn't pick my Sixers. I will not take that against you. I'm still for the Sixers. I think they're playing the best basketball so far. Before we take a gap, let me ask you about very quickly. It's a tight series between the Knicks and the Hawks. Which factor will tilt this series, Homer? Ikaw muna.
Oh, I love this series, Commissioner. So far, not including Game 3, which is still going on behind me. I love this because I'm older than Charles, way older than Charles. And this reminds me of my younger years in the 90s. This is like playoff in the 90s. Both teams, Commissioner, are shooting 41% from the field, no better than 34% from 3. And then there are a total of 70 fouls. So this is a very physical game. I love this. But at the end of the day, I think the Atlanta Hawks, as much as I love Thibodeau and Derrick Rose, I text Derrick Rose every once in a while. In fact, I just texted him kasi may laban si Pacquiao, and he always gets 2 ringside tickets for a Pacquiao fight.
All right.
But I like the Atlanta Hawks, Commissioner, because they have home court advantage, and Trae Young is just an exceptional talent.
15-point lead for the Atlanta Hawks in Game 3. Charles, what do you think?
I think the Hawks too will win. I think they have more talent than the Knicks. The Knicks are more rugged, but the Hawks have the talent. They have enough experience also with vets like Gallinari. Now Capela has a lot of experience sa playoffs. Bogdanovic, Trae Young lang yung medyo rookie sa playoffs. But hey, look at him play. And well, since lamang sila ng 15, well, they might make that 2-1 lead. So syempre, doon na tayo sa medyo pabor ngayon.
All right.
Listen, that's a good coach right there, Commissioner. Always take the one-game lead.
Realistic, di ba? Di ba? Yung
Yes.
ando na yun eh. All right, let me ask you, gentlemen, as we know the first round is so exciting, but, if their teams lose, if these three teams lose, which happens first? The firing of Brad Stevens, the firing of Terry Stotts of Portland, or Kawhi Leonard not coming back to the LA Clippers? I'll begin with you, Charles.
Wow, that's tough. Actually, the interesting thing is I might go with Brad Stevens. To be honest, I know everybody respects him as a coach, but in the NBA, it's so tough to really stay as a coach. And he's had that leeway. He's had really good rosters. This year, medyo masakit kasi injuries and everything. But, I mean, to me, you have to have a bit more success than that. I've been debating this with some of my friends, my other co-coaches. I think Stevens is gone. It's followed by Kawhi. I think Terry Stotts is safe in Portland.
Homer?
Well, I agree. Terry Stotts is safe in Portland, but Terry Stotts remind me of a restaurant. Parang you like to go there every Fridays or something kasi nabubusog ka, the prices are reasonable, but the menu never changes. When you have visitors, you never bring them to that restaurant. But he's gonna be safe kasi long-term yung contract niya. Brad Stevens, the same thing. He has at least, I think, 2 years left in his contract. And with the NBA teams, commissioner losing money because of the pandemic, they're not going to fire a coach and hire another one and pay him more money. So my answer is Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard doesn't even have to ask for a trade. He can simply walk away. Kasi yung contract ni Kawhi Leonard after this season is a player option. He doesn't even have to tell the team. He can just say, okay, bye-bye. And that is the reason why Kawhi Leonard did not sign a long-term deal with the Clippers. Kasi he considered this season as an audition. Now, nako, we do not have the wherewithal. We don't have the mental toughness. I do not trust Paul George. And look what's happening now. I think they're going to get, not going to get swept. I think they have more pride than that. But they're going to lose to the Dallas Mavericks. And Kawhi Leonard is done. Maybe he's going to TNT, Commissioner. You never know.
We'll never know. And of course, the first round playoffs will certainly give us all the answers. Gentlemen, marami pa akong gustong sabihin at tanungin. I will not ask for your predictions yet for the finals, but when...
Not yet.
Definitely, I will get you back when we get into the second round and up to the conference finals. Coach Charles Tiu and Homer Sayson, always a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you,
It's an
Kouame.
honor to be with Coach Tiu. I've been a big fan of his podcast and his tweets. Very intelligent. He knows his basketball, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm so proud. Even it's like being with Kenito. First time you gave me with Kenito, Eric Mick, and now Charles Tiu. I don't know, Commissioner, what have I done to deserve this? Thank you very much. More power.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you so much. Mga kaibigan, si Coach Charles Tiu at si
Indeed for president. Indeed for president. Please, Sara go for vice president. Oh, Sara go by Sara Duterte. I'm sorry. Indeed for president.
Pupulin nyo na yan. Maraming salamat. Maraming salamat. Yan po mga kaibigan, si Homer Sayson. Talaga to si Homer.
Kidding, Commissioner.
But always a pleasure. Very deep ang insights and wonderful reading. Basahin niyo po mga column ni Homer Sayson sa spin.ph. Terrific columns. Just a lot of insights direct from the NBA. And of course, Kurt Charles Tiu. Sana magbilang ang health si Homer na minsan makita na natin si Charles na nagko-coach muli sa PBA. Alright, bago po tayo magpatuloy, puntahan muna natin ang ating This Week in Sports History. May 25, 1928 or 93 years ago nang makumbinsin ng Frenchman na si Jules ang FIFA na magsimula ng isang worldwide football tournament. Ang system pwedeng sumali sa torneo sa lahat ng mga bansa na miyembro ng FIFA, ang global organizing body ng football. Gaganapin ang torneo kada 4 na taon. Nagsimula ito noong 1930, 2 taon matapos nila simulan ang pagpaplano at tinawag nila itong World Cup. Ngayon ay kilala na natin ito bilang isa sa mga prestihiyosong sporting events sa buong mundo. At pati ang ibang sports gaya ng basketball nagkaroon na rin ng kanilang sariling World Cup. The birth of the World Cup of Football this week in sports history. Naku, mamaya pinag-uusapan niyang World Cup. Makakausap po natin si Coach Scott Cooper ng Philippine Azkals na ngayon ay naghahanda para sa qualifiers ng 2022 FIBA World Cup at nung 2023 AFC Asian Cup. Yan po ay pinaghahandaan at nakausap natin mismo ang Philippine Azkals coach. Mamaya po, abangan nyo yan. At this point mga kaibigan, gusto po natin magpasalamat sa lahat ng ang tagapagtaguyod ng Power and Play. Una sa listahan of course, Big Boss Cement, Big Boss sa tatag, Big Boss sa tibay. Nandito na ang Big Boss Cement. Di basta matitibag, approved sa kalikasan at sobrang abot kaya. Big Boss Cement is the first eco-friendly cement company in the Philippines. First and only cement that is produced with low to zero
Not good,
percentage
alright? Was I
of
good?
high carbon footprint materials.
Yeah.
Big Boss Cement, Big Boss at tatag, Big Boss at tibay. Thank you so much kay Engineer Gilbert Cruz, ang kanilang presidente at Chief Company Innovator. Marami din po salamat sa Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum. Sa ganitong pabago-bago ang panahon, ngayon nag-uulan na mga kapatid. Sobrang init tapos biglang uulan. Kailangan natin ng matibay at protektadong bubong. Dapat ang bubong ay yerong may aluminum. Kapag may aluminum, tsak na pang matagalan. At isa lang ang alam kong dekalidad na yerong may aluminum, yan ang Cherry Loom. Tibay protektado sa pang matagalang yero. Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum. Thank you so much kay pareng Elmer Ngo ng Cherry Loom. Marami din po salamat of course sa Elms Resto Bar Group, home of fried itik, with branches at Elms Tapas and Winery located in Calle Bistro, Commonwealth, Quezon City, and Elms Grill and Bar sa Poblacion, Makati. You may call mobile number 0977-157-0499 or 0966-854-4048 o sundan sila sa Facebook at IG pages at Elms Resto Bar Group for reservations and inquiries. Thank you kay Malu Yambao. Thank you also to Joyride, ang bago ninyong kasundo. Dahil ayaw naming nahihirapan ka, book Joyride Motorcycle Taxi now and experience hassle-free commute. Kapag delivery naman, Joyride ang gamitin. Bagsak presyo, pero hindi ang serbisyo. Joyride is now on its lowest rates ever. And of course, bukas na rin po ang Joyride Mall, kung saan kayo po ay directly makakapag-order na and you can book your favorite items online. So download now the latest super app ng Joyride. Thank you also to Makibalita Professional, your school of makeup artistry, the official makeup of Power and Play. At marami din po salamat of course sa Skin, your face and body anti-aging center with branches at Wilson Street, San Juan City, and Alabang Town Center, Muntinlupa City. We provide in-the-butt tissue regeneration, procedure, mesotherapy, Maximus Tri Lipo, and many more to take care of your body needs. For inquiries, please call 0917-890-1640 or 0977-809-8886. Marami din po salamat, of course, to Smart and the Smart Giga Life app. Naku, ang dami pong sumusuporta sa atin. Sa lahat po ng mga tumutulong sa atin sa Power and Play, thank you very, very much. Maraming salamat po sa Smart, of course. And tuloy-tuloy po tayo, ha? By the way, dun po sa ating mga pinupulsuhan, again, ang ating pong pinupulsuhan ngayong araw pong ito ay ang tanong na tama ba na ang pinili na labanan ni Senador Manny Pacquiao ay si Errol Spence Jr. Kung gusto niyo po makipaghuntahan, mag-text lamang sa aming hotline, mag-post po sa aming Facebook pages. Again, mamaya po pag may oras, ay aming babasahin po lahat ng inyong mga komentaryo. Alright, I think we're about ready. Handa na yata tayo, no? For our next interview. Alam niyo po, kamakailan, nagkaroon ng balita na muli tayong nakakuha ng isang manlalaro na pupunta sa Tokyo Olympics. And it has been almost 13 years since nakapasok po ang isang taekwondo jin para sa Pilipinas sa Olimpiada. And today, we are honored to have with us the 9th Olympic bet ng Team Pilipinas para sa Tokyo Olympics. Walang iba kundi si Kurt Barbosa. Magandang umaga, Kurt. Welcome to Power.
Magandang umaga po, sir.
Nakakatuwa na makasama ka namin ngayong umaga, Kurt. Unang-una, ikaw ba nagising ka na ba dun sa panaginip, dun sa pagkakapanalo mo na ikaw ay makakapunta na sa Tokyo Olympics?
Yes po, sir. Gising na po. Una po, hindi po talaga ako makapaniwala eh.
Alam mo, puntahan natin yung qualification, yung Asian Qualification Tournament sa Amman, Jordan, right away because yun ang naging highlight, yun ang naging moment mo talaga. Kurt, considering pandemic, before we go to the fight, kamusta ang paghahanda mo dun sa para sa tournament na yun?
Pinaghandaan po talaga namin, which is nagsimula kami nung nagbubble kami sa Inspire Enyo Laguna po. January po kami nag-start yung training po namin, yung puspusan na training, yung mahirap na training, yung hard work po talaga, kumbaga ganun po. Doon po lahat nagsimula since January po talaga, tapos ilang beses po kasi na-cancel yung laban, so parang ang hirap din, parang napapaasa kami lagi kasi walang final schedule. So hanggang ganun po, nagtrabaho kami, naghirap kami hanggang walang final schedule.
Oh.
So doon po lahat nagsimula, sir.
Hindi ka ba nahirapan na dahil nga very uncertain, hindi natin alam kung kalang kalalaban talaga, hindi ka ba nahirapan sa pagmentena ng iyong timbang? Kasi ikaw, fin weight ka, di ba, Kurt? Minus
Yes po,
54 kilograms?
Sa laban ko na po nung qualifying po is minus 58 po yung category ko.
Alright, okay.
So di po ako nahirapan mag-lose weight, di po ako nahirapan mag-maintain. So talagang kontrolado yung weight,
Okay.
weight class ko na nilabanan.
Puntahan natin yung laban mo, sa semifinals ng torneo against Zaid Al-Halawani ng Jordan, a local boy. Of course, yan ang nagpapasok sa iyo patungo sa Tokyo Olympics. And what an exciting fight that was. Going into the third round, talo ka. Lumalamang siya 41-26. Saan kayo nahihirapan sa kanya nung unang mga rounds, Kurt?
First of all, sir, sobrang haba niya, sobrang tangkad niya. So magandang advantage yun sa kanya. Kasi po, kita nyo naman po ang layo ng height po namin. Sobrang hirap din kasi magaling sila mag-kontra. Yung experience-wise niya, sobrang dami na. Ako po kasi hindi po ako masyadong lumalaban. Tas sila po, nag-gold na po yan lagi sa mga open-open. So dun ako nag-take advantage, lahat ng laban niya, inaral ko po talaga. So pagdating po sa laro, parang nagugulat ako kasi yun nga, experience-wise siya. Tapos hello, sir.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Kurt. Go ahead.
Tapos yun po, inaral po namin ng coach ko, paano siya talunin. Yun po, ganun po yung kalabasan. Tapos nagugulat lang po ako kasi yun nga, experience-wise niya, ang layo kumbaga sa akin.
Alam mo, nabanggit ko nga, no, na lamang siya sa'yo going into the final round. Malaki ang lamang niya, no, 15 puntos. Ano ang iniisip mo? Anong adjustment ginawa mo going into the final round, Kurt, para mahabol?
Final round po talaga, sir, yan yung pinaka-importante talaga eh. So, ang nangyari po doon is, may gambium po kasi sa yung minus deduction po na sinasabi po namin. 10 gambium po kasi is tapos na yung laban kahit na tambak yung score namin. So, ang plano po namin is sa deduction siya matatalo kahit na wala na tayong pake sa score. So, doon po ako nag-take advantage na parang yung iniisip na lang din po kasi ng kalaban ko is yung ingatan yung gamjom niya.
Okay.
Which is hindi niya na rin po napapansin yung score, dumidikit na din po.
Oo.
So, naging parang nagugulat na rin po ako na dumidikit yung score. Hanggang nagtuloy-tuloy po. Tapos di lang po talaga ako tumigil.
Oo.
Nang sumipa. Tapos nararamdaman ko na po kasi na pagod na siya.
Kurt, alam mo ba na with 24 seconds to go, down ka pa ng mga 5 points at kailangan mo pang humabol? Did you know that? At anong umiikot sa utak mo nun?
Ako po talaga, sir, binibilang ko kasi layo talaga
Yung technical problem. Go ahead, Kurt.
Sorry, sir, nagka-crush.
Okay lang. Go ahead.
Doon po, saan na po ulit yung question, sir? Sorry.
With 24 seconds to go, alam mo ba na lamang siya? At anong umiikot sa utak mo nun?
Yes po, alam ko na sobrang lamang siya, sobrang layo ng score namin. Ako naman po, nagbibilang yung isip ko na paano siya habulin, kung ilang sipa pa. Kasi parang kailangan din ng math talaga Pag naghahabol ka, dapat alam mo din yung ilang seconds na din, ilan yung hahabulin mo. So that time po, binibilang ko din habang naghahabol ako, binibilang ko kung ilan pa yung hahabulin ko.
Oo.
Ganun po, sir.
Alright. And finally, sa kaduluduluhan, panalo ka by the skin of your teeth. Talagang napakalapit. Describe that feeling, Kurt. Yung alam mo na you came from behind, ang tinalo mo ay hometown boy, and of course, ang pagkapanalo mo ay nagdulot sa pagpasok mo sa Tokyo Olympics. Describe that moment, that feeling for us, Kurt.
First of all, sir, enjoy ko po talaga. Hindi ako na-pressure, hindi ako nagpa-pressure, hindi ko inisip na hometown, hindi ko inisip na home court advantage. Ang inisip ko lang is mag-enjoy sa laro, ipapakita ko sa kanya paano ako maglaro. Tapos yun po, nag-enjoy lang talaga ako, di ko inisip yung pressure.
Yeah.
Kasi the more na nag-enjoy ako, doon ako nanalo
Talaga nag-i-enjoy ka dahil nanalo ka, no, Kurt?
Yes, sir.
Alright. Maraming hindi masyado pang nakakakilala sa iyo, Kurt. And, gusto ko lang pasukin ng konti yung personal mo. Alam namin na ikaw ay tubong Bangged Abra, ikaw ay naglaro sa National University, MVP Rookie of the Year ng taekwondo. Let me just ask you, paano ka ba napasok sa taekwondo? Sinong nagpakilala sa iyo sa sport na yan?
Una po yung parents ko po talaga yung nagpasok sa akin. 6 years old po ako. Pinasok na nila ako ng taekwondo clinic kasi sobrang kulit ko daw, ganyan. Kailangan ko daw madisiplina, ganun po, sir. Tapos hanggang sa nag-tournament na po ako, kasama ko yung parents ko, mga regional tournaments, sinasamaan po ako. Tapos nananalo naman po ako, so nagiging masaya naman po sila. Tapos yun po, si Sir Glenn Benape yung unang instructor ko po talaga from Bangged Abra din po.
Ilan ba kayo sa pamilya, Kurt? At ang magulang mo ba ay atleta or may mga kamag-anak ka ba na naging national athletes?
Wala po, sir. 3 magkakapatid po lang po kami.
Okay. Pero ang impluwensya ng magulang mo ay napakalaki sa pagpasok mo ng taekwondo. Bakit taekwondo? Bakit yun ang napili aside from being so makulit? Alam naman natin, ang taekwondo medyo physical. Naglalaro ka ba ng ibang sports o talagang taekwondo lang talaga ang napili mo?
Naglalaro, marami po akong sport talaga, sir. Like, kunwari, yung basketball, nag-MVP din po ako sa mga barangay dati.
Talaga?
Yung sa school, yes po. Sepak takraw, yan po. Yung mga hilig ko din po dati. Pinush lang ako talaga ng magulang ko na taekwondo talaga kasi pag daw basketball, madami daw kaagaw, ganun. Pag
Marami ng-
sepak takraw naman, parang, bakit mo pipiliin yung sepak takraw? Taekwondo, mas maganda, ganyan.
Oo.
Doon, madami po akong sport talaga na nakagustuhan din. Pero yung magulang ko talaga is taekwondo talaga yung pinili para sa akin.
Okay. And of course, ikaw napailalim ka kay Carlos Padilla sa
Yes
sa
po.
taekwondo. Gaano kalaking impluwensya si coach sa'yo? And of course, ano mga natutunan mo sa kanya?
Before po kay Coach Carlos Padilla po, meron din po kasi yung mga nakaraang kong coach sa FEU po, si Sir Ian Hernandez. Tapos nung lumipat po ako ng NU, senior high po ako, andun din po si Coach Jeff Figueroa. Tapos hanggang sa college na po ako, nagsama na din po kami ni Coach Kaloy sa national team. Tapos doon po nabuo lahat-lahat. Parang malaking tulong po sa akin lahat ng na madami akong natutunan, madaming naturo sa akin ng mga coaches. Sobrang magandang advantage po yun sa akin.
Alright. Kurt, alam natin na napakalaki, historical itong nagawa mo. The last time na may isang taga-taekwondo na lumaban sa Olimpiada para sa ating bansa was Chomli Go back in 2008. So halos 13 taon bago nakabalik ang taekwondo ng Pilipinas sa Olympics. Has that sunk in sa'yo? Naintindihan mo na ba kung gaano kalaki yung ginawa mo, Kurt?
Una po talaga is hindi ko po alam na siya yung last. Tapos galun po katagal. Nagulat na lang po ako nung after na po lahat ng game na nalaman ko yung mga ganun na news. So sobrang thankful and grateful po ako kasi binigay po talaga ni God na ako yung magre-represent ulit ng taekwondo sa Tokyo Olympics po, sir.
Very good. Well, let's move forward now, Kurt. Ano ang final training plans mo? May mga papasukan pa bang competition? Only about 2 months to go bago sa Olympics. Ano ang plano ninyo for your training?
From the NSA po namin is sa PTA po. Dapat po maglalaro ako ng Asian Champs pero hindi na po nila ako pinaglaro. Pinili na lang po nila na magstay ako dito para sa safety nest po ba, iwas sa injured, ganun po. Tapos
Iwas sa COVID.
iwas sa COVID po talaga. Yun po talaga yun eh.
Oo.
Kasi mahirap po magka-COVID eh. Baka mamaya doon pa po kami madisgrasya. So mas pinili na lang po na magstay ako dito tapos mag-training po ulit ako sa bubble po. Bubble
Alright.
training po.
Ano ang mga focus mo ngayon in the final stages of your training? Anong tinututukan mo na gusto mo pang ma-improve patungo sa Tokyo?
Alam ko na po kasi yung magiging kalaban ko, mayroon na po kaming listahan.
Sino to?
It's either yung Korea po or yung Italy, yung mga rank number 1 and 2 po, sir.
Okay.
So ngayon pa lang po
Medyo nawala ata ng bahagya. Let's see if we can get back Kurt Barbosa. Just having a little bit of difficulty. Nabanggit nga niya na alam na niya po, mga kapatid, ang makakalaban niya sa Tokyo, mga matataas na rango doon sa kanyang division. And of course, these are the Koreans and the Italians. So talagang, kumbaga, tutok na, focus na ang paghahanda ni Kurt Barbosa, our first Taekwondo Jin na papasok muli sa Tokyo Olympics after 13 long years ng paghihintay. Alright, maybe we'll take a quick gap at susubukan po nating maibalik si Kurt Barbosa dito po sa Power and Play, hatid sa inyo ng Big Boss Cement at ng Cherry Dome.
sorry sir, nawala ako.
Welcome to the Giga Life. Your passions, your stories, your life. Simplified with just one app. This is the future. The Giga Life in just one tap. Experience more Giga moments when you make the smart choice. With the Philippines' fastest mobile data network. How do I know it's T1? Simple, smart, ako. Welcome to the Giga Life. Your passions, your stories, your life. Simplified with just one app. This is the future. The Giga Life in just one tap. Experience more Giga moments when you make the smart choice. With the Philippines' fastest mobile data network. How do I know it's T1? Simple, smart, ako.
Nagbabalik pa rin po ang Power and Play at kasama pa rin po natin ang ating pambato sa taekwondo sa Olimpiada, si Kurt Barbosa. Kurt, yung huli kong tanong sa iyo before I let you go, again, saan ka nakafocus sa training mo ngayon as you prepare for the Olympics?
Mas nakafocus po kami ngayon sa mga kalaban ko talaga kasi kilala na po namin yung magiging kalaban po namin. So, more on technical issues po ngayon yung pinag-aaralan namin. More on yung pwedeng gawin po sa kalaban ko, kung pwedeng gawin ko, kung pwedeng gawin niya sa akin. So, ganun po. Kasi nag-aaral din po yung mga yan eh. So, kailangan ko din po sila magpag-aralan.
Ikaw nakapag-compete ka sa World Championships, nag-gold medal ka sa Southeast Asian Games, and of course, kakapasok mo lang o kakalaban mo lang sa qualifying tournament. Ano ang mga leksyon na natutunan mo na sa tingin mo makakatulong sa iyo pagtungtong mo sa Tokyo?
Natutunan ko po nung World Championship is yung stamina talaga. So, binild ko po talaga yun kasi nung third round po, parang sumuko yung baga ko eh. Parang nawalan ako ng stamina talaga. So, yun yung binild ko talaga. Tapos, nung SEA Games naman po is yung mas inayos ko yung galaw ko ngayon sa qualifying kasi nung SEA Games so medyo magulo pa, medyo hindi pa siya ayos, kumbaga ganun po. So, yun po yung nagiging proseso ko para mas sa mga next na laban ko is mas maayos po. Yun po, sir.
Okay, ngayon na ikaw ay nakapasok na sa Tokyo, Kurt, it's a pambihirang achievement para sa iyo as an athlete. Ano ang ibig sabihin sa iyo nito personal bilang isang Olympian na ngayon?
Um, Ngayon po, sir, sobrang di ko po ma-explain yung saya ko as naririnig ko na Olympian na ako, ganun po. Pero inaangkin ko sa sarili ko na hanggat hindi ko nang kukuha yung medalya na gusto ko, huwag niyong sabihan ng ganito, ganyan. Parang gusto ko po yung normal lang, gusto ko yung dating tingin nila sa akin is ganun pa din kasi ayoko po ng ganun eh. Gusto ko may mapatunayan po talaga ng sobra eh. So, excited po ako na maglaro para mapakita po ulit sa buong Pilipinas at sa mga sumusuporta po sa akin.
Hindi mo mapipigilan yun, Kurt, dahil kahit papano, meron ka na talagang nagawa at binigyan mo ng karangalan ng ating bansa at aming ipagdarasal mula sa Power and Play na talagang mapaganda ang iyong kondisyon at gumanda ang tsansa mo at manalo ka ng medalya sa Olympics. Kurt Barbosa, maraming salamat sa iyong panahon this morning. We wish you luck and hopefully pagkakuha mo na ng medalya, balik ka sa Power and Play, ha?
Yes po, sir. Pwede po ako magpasalamat lang po sa mga...
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
First of all po, thank you for having me here sa Power and Play. And lagi kong pinapasalamatan si God na nandyan gumagabay sa akin. Tapos sa bumubuo po ng Philippine Taekwondo Association, lalong-lalo na po kay Grandmaster Hong. And sa PSC po na sumusuporta, NPOC na laging nandyan. Tapos sa MBPSF po na laging sinusuportahan, pinapalahat ng kailangan po namin. Tapos yung Unicity brand po namin na lahat ng supply po namin for the training. And gusto ko din po pasalamatan yung congressman po namin sa Abra, si JB Bernos and si Governor Joy Bernos. Tapos yung kaibigan ko na Vice Mayor sa Abra din po si Ari Bautista. And yung kapitan din po na laging nagpapaganoon po sa akin si Baklo na po. Maraming salamat po. And lalong-lalo na po sa mga magulang ko, mga family ko, Barbosa family and De La Vega family. And lastly po, si Mr. Hansi po. Thank you po sa inyo lahat, sir.
Maraming salamat. Maraming salamat sa suporta. Kurt, good luck. Godspeed. Maraming salamat.
Thank you po.
Mga kaibigan, si Kurt Barbosa, ang ating Olympic bet patungo ng Tokyo Olympics para sa larangan ng taekwondo. Wow, exciting days ahead for the Philippine delegation. And of course, isa pang naghahanda ng isa nilang malaking torneo. Ito po ay paghahanda para sa 2022 FIFA World Cup at sa 2023 AFC Asian Cup, yung pong Philippine Azkals. And we had an opportunity na nakipagkamustahan mismo sa head coach ng Philippine Azkals. Walang iba kundi si Coach Scott Cooper. Panoorin po ninyo to. How are the arrangements there for the Philippine Azkals? How is the hotel? How is the training center that you're getting the boys and of course the pitch?
Yeah, we entered into a kind of a bubble, so we had just a one-day quarantine as opposed to 10 for anybody else coming into Doha. And we've got strict protocols in the bubble that we must follow. But the hotel's an excellent standard, as most of them are in Qatar, and the training pitch is, it's a five-star type of feel, so it's great for preparation.
Well, we know that you are there to set up a training camp. This is precisely for the FIFA World Cup and, of course, the AFC Asian Cup qualifiers. We know that the team has been trying to prepare, of course, with all of the restrictions in the Philippines. How was the preparation previous to your trip, and what were the biggest challenges, Coach Scott?
Well, I mean, we're still facing challenges now, but I mean, you can't really prepare a team. You can only prepare the names of the squad because they're all coming from their own club teams, and therefore we have to deal with not just the clubs now. We have to deal with other countries, their quarantine, their restrictions, their protocols, and so it's it's really difficult, and that FIFA extended kind of the calendar to enable countries to work with their players and their clubs. So really, really difficult because it's you're trying to get the right players on the field, and we're still encountering big problems even to this day. And last night they're just endless. And we're going to be entering into a bubble in China to finish off the group stage, meaning we're actually not getting two of the home games that we should have actually got.
That's right. Well, two home games that could have been crucial. And of course, with the Filipino support, it would have really made a lot of difference. But, you are in this situation right now, and given this pandemic, it still continues to surge. How significant is building a training camp back there in Doha?
Well, it's really significant because, when we get to China, we have to play on the 3rd, and we have to follow a quarantine situation there. So, I want to take this time to thank all of the clubs that have allowed players to come in. We're still facing issues now with players with the processing of visas to go into China, some with illnesses, injury, family sickness. We had the other day with one of the players had a serious family illness and had to leave the camp. And a couple of players that aren't yet still FIFA registered that we're still waiting on that process to be finalized. So, it's a difficult challenge. We had a long list, but from the original list we had, we're around about 11 or 12 of those players will not be in China with us, and about 7 or 8 of them would have potentially been starting players. So we've been hit really, really hard.
Oh, that is, really sorry to hear and, disappointing. We've been reading about it, and certainly we hope that, in some way, all the boys can get together and really still pull together. But let me just ask you, Coach Scott, are there specific things that you want to achieve right now in this training camp and, kind of programs that you are putting the Azkals under right now?
Yeah, I mean, we have a plan for all 3 games and where we want to go in the group. We're joint second in the group, and we'd like a strong finish in the group and build towards Suzuki Cup and SEA Games and success as we go forward. But as it stands right now, your coaching plans are one thing, but you just want the players to arrive, and we're still waiting for players to arrive. And it's no one's fault. It's just the world we're living in at the moment. And, as it stands, all I'm trying to achieve is get as many of the players we wanted initially here in Doha in one piece so we can move on. But, it's just an endless amount of issues that are coming. And so, that matched with, we don't have, as you said, the 2 home games in the Philippines would have been hugely advantageous to us, particularly because those 2 home games are with teams we'd already beaten away already. So there would have been strong games for us. And now we're left with, a dented squad, severely dented. Neil Etheridge needs surgery. He can't come. Patrick Strauss hurt his leg in the last game. He's out. And there's 5 or 6 other key players gone, and another 4 or 5 gone from the initial plan. So we're nursing a few things, to be honest.
That's true. Garrett Holtmann won't be able to come. Rafael Obermeyer has also begged off from joining the team, and some other names. So, Coach, you had a 25-man call-up for the Azkals for Doha. From the last report we had, there were about 13 plus another one that came on. I think Justin Bass came just around and accepted the call. What is the latest update from Doha? How many players do you have, and who are the players that you're still expecting?
We have 17 players here, but we're hoping to have 22, 23. Garrett Holtmann was one of the players, and it would have been instantly one of the best players in Asian football. Now, Garrett had his COVID vaccine 2 days ago and had severe side effects, and severe to the point where he couldn't get in to complete the last document we needed for his FIFA registration. So, and he texted me again this morning saying, "Coach, I just can't get out of bed, but I am committed to the Azkals." And so, there's a few things like that have gone on that has just hit us really hard. Nico De Vera has had a very serious family illness that he's had to return home for in a flash. So, flying in today would be Justin Bass and Mike Ott, Kenshiro Daniels for his first call up under me. So, we have to somehow turn the adversity into something positive and see what we can do. In the circumstances. One thing that I would say is that the future is very bright for Filipino football, regardless of this World Cup group finish. We are seeing the potential for a 3, 4, 5, 6 year period of huge growth.
Well, we've heard from, of course, Dan Palami. We've heard from Mr. Araneta that, realistically, really, the Azkals are targeting perhaps the 2026 World Cup. But of course, we're still not closing the door on this one. We're still hoping to qualify as well for the AFC Asian Cup. But right now, with this lineup that you have, with all the challenges, Coach Cup, what do you like about the team that you have, that you are building, and what qualities do you think will make them very competitive?
Well, we will be competitive. There's no doubt about that. I mean, we have very good players here, and selecting a team is always subjective. So some fans will say, "Well, I think he should be in. I think that he should be in." So, we're going to have the players to be very competitive. We've just had some elite players that we've lost, unfortunately, and we can build on that. And so, I think we'll just, over the last year and a half, 2 years, since right before COVID started, we started turning the corner and climbing ourselves into good positions in the group. And during the COVID, we've carried on the communication and recruitment of players so that we're in a position where we can move forward. 2026 is the target for us. But before that, the Asian Cup and getting out of the group is a target. We should be looking at trying to win the SEA Games and Suzuki Cup. That's what the fans need to see us, not just do well in something, but win something. And so, we will go and give our best in this Chinese bubble and see where it goes. And some players that maybe didn't have the chance before now do have the chance to implant the name in my mind so that they can stay with us. So, it is what it is. There are, I'm sure all of the countries are dealing with some similar things as well, but we're going to be positive. We know the future is bright, but we're always focusing on right now is what we can do in China. And we're still confident that we can give a good show of ourselves.
Well, we talked about young players trying to make an impression and hopefully making, a long career with the Azkals. Of course, you have the ADT, the Azkals developmental team, and you've got 2 guys already in that team playing with you in Doha right now. Harvey Gayoso and, of course, Mardiano. How do you like that program? And do you think that many of those players will eventually really be part of the men's team?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I mean, that's the whole idea and vision for ADT, so that these players can move in to perhaps not stay in ADT too long, move on to bigger clubs in the country, your likes of Kaya or United, or moving into other Asian leagues or European leagues. And it's already showing its benefit. The ADT team, while they came third in the league, they had the best defensive record, only conceded 2 goals in the league. Harvey Gayoso was a standout player in that for us. And, we have eventually, after much discussion, we found the right position for him. And he's here in the squad. And so and Diano too. So they're showing that the program works. And the thing with ADT, we don't want it to stand still, and we want to keep pushing and bringing in new talent, and then moving the talent and that can move on to something a little bit stronger, so that the payback to the Azkals is always beneficial. And so we see it working well. We don't look at ourselves as a team trying to fight for a title in the PFL. We look at ourselves as a team trying to develop players to move on, right, so the Azkals can benefit. So in that sense, the development team is as it says, it's in its true sense.
All right. Well, of course, from one edge of the spectrum to the other edge of the spectrum, perhaps one of the best players that could play for the Philippine Azkals and in Asia, Bienvenido Marañon, who was supposed and scheduled to become a naturalized player for the Philippine Azkals. How big of a loss is he if he is unable to get his papers on time? And, your reaction, actually, to the whole Marañon situation?
Buenve is a great player. He's a fantastic goal scorer. You look at his goals for games return, he's fantastic. Leading goal scorer, I think, of all time in AFC Cup. Great attitude. Even though he's in like his 30s now, he's still got a lot to offer because he's very professional, and his game suggests that he can maintain his career for a while longer yet. And so we were very comfortable having him because he was committed to the Philippines. You know, he spends time with his family traveling around the Philippines. And so not only was he a great player, he'd got the right attitude to come in, which was important to me for any naturalized player. So it was a huge loss when we found out that his papers weren't done in time, and they're not going to be done in time. I can reveal that he's not going to be with us. And so we look at him, Garrett Holtmann, who's been unfortunately ill, Jesper Neon, similar situation. Rafael Obermar very disappointingly withdrew his name at the last minute because he's got a cup final to play tomorrow. Right. That's difficult for him to get in on time. Jesse Curran was another one that's been with us. That's been difficult to get the paperwork completed, but we're almost there. And these are all Filipinos, so you know, the future looks very bright. So we're just gonna deal with what we've got right now. We've got good players here, and they're all ready, willing, and able to represent the team and the country well.
Well, you still have the cornerstones of this team, Stefan Schrock and, of course, Neil Etheridge. What is the role that you see for them moving forward? I mean, in this bubble in China and in the qualifiers, how big is it just to have Stefan and Neil in the team?
Well, Neil's not in the team. Neil is another one that's injured at the moment.
So he will not be playing as well now.
2 days ago, we had a chat with Neil, and he's had an injury that needs surgery, so he can't. I mean, he's heartbroken over it, and so are we. So we couldn't have him. We couldn't have him. Patrick Dato is another goalkeeper that wasn't available through his own choice because of a family situation. Michael Falk's got another one too.
Wow.
So 3 keepers are gone too. So but Stefan Schrock, I mean, I can't speak highly enough of him. He's probably the best player in Southeast Asia, one of the best in Asia. He's like a fine wine. He gets better with age. He's committed. He's a coach on the field and off the field. I do believe in the future he'll be a future Azkals head coach too.
So who is going to be manning the goal now, Coach Scott?
Well, I mean, if you look at our last camps, we had Neil Etheridge, Patrick Dato, and Michael Falksgod. All of them are not available. All right. So now we've got to drop down again we tried to bring Anthony Pinthas in, who was a champion with United. Couldn't get him because he's in Switzerland and we couldn't get his visa in time. We've got Bernd Shipman from Germany, Kevin Mendoza from Denmark, who's playing in Malaysia. And we had to bring Quincy, our ADT goalkeeper, in as the third keeper into the squad as well. So you can see what's really been happening. It's a shame that we can't really field our strongest 11 in my mind. Yeah. But, then again, there's some players here that are more than ready, willing and able to do the job. And they've got a chance now to show me that they're capable of doing it and staying in the squad, because the Azkals, whatever happens in the next few weeks, over the next year or two, we'll start to make some great strides. And for me, it's about not just doing well or qualifying for things, it's about actually putting some silverware in cabinets.
Well, obviously, it was already a steep climb. It was, obviously, it was a tall order for the Azkals in the FIFA World Cup, in the AFC Asian Cup qualifiers, with a good team. Now it's even become a bigger challenge for everyone. But when you look at your lineup, if you still have got a lot of good players there, you've got Angel Garrido Gerardo is still there. Alvaro Silva going to be there? In other words, who do you expect to step up here for the Philippine Azkals, Coach Scott?
Yeah, I mean, there's still a core of very good players here and senior players. Alvaro Silva is here, Stefan Schrock, as you said, Martin Stubele is here. Mike Ott's with us, Mark Hartman, Angel Gerardo, Patrick Reichel. So there are Luke Woodlands here. We've got the new incoming player of Michael Kempter, who came from FC Zurich, who's coming at left back. Michael Tabinas from the Japanese leagues here. Oliver Bias, a young, exciting German player that's been at Red Bull Leipzig. So there are some good players here. We just don't have the amount of players that we thought we would have, and we've lost a few good ones on the way. But they'll come back at a later date. So we'll just we've got good players here for sure, and we're more than capable. So no one's making any excuses, and we just go forward and we give it everything.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the FIFA, the 2022 FIFA World Cup and 2023 AFC Asian Cup qualifiers. Now, the Azkals have been very competitive in your group. And obviously there are challenges, as we mentioned. What do you think is the realistic, expectations that you have for this team going to China, Coach Scott?
Well, I mean, the best we can do is come second in the group. To do that, we'd have to beat Guam, China, and the Maldives, and hope China drop a point somewhere because the goal difference is vastly different to ours. So, that's the best. Realistically, the third place is something we should be achieving for sure. Now, the runner-up in the group is not assured of a World Cup next level place. It's the 4 best runners-up. So even if we become second, there's no certainty in that in any case. And so we'll play Guam in the first game, China in the second, and then the Maldives in the third. But every game is critical because every game and the points in your power finish at the end of the group that really denotes what type of group you're going to be in for the Asian qualification group stage. And so we need a stronger finish as possible. So, of course, we'll go to try and win all 3 games. But second will be the best we could finish, but that's not only in our hands. We need to win 3 games and hope China drop another point, or the goal difference gets ours improves vastly and theirs decreases vastly, which would take a near miracle really for that tackle. So I think we've got to make sure we secure 3rd place. So we've got a decent group, the Asian Cup qualifying, where we've got to get back to the next Asian Cup. We've got to this time in the Asian Cup get points in the group stage. Last time we lost all 3 games, and that's something we need to do. We need to be going to the Suzuki Cup as well and getting past the semi-finals into the final and trying to win it. Same with the SEA Games. So these are things we've got to target. But in China, we'll look for the 3 wins and see where that takes us. And we must get 3rd place at least, and at best we can get 2nd.
Well, 3rd place still, based on what I've read, 3rd place still moves the Azkals to the next phase of the AFC, the 3rd qualifying round. Is that correct?
Correct. We get the top 2 teams will go through to the next phase of the World Cup. For the Asian Cup, it'll give us a strong next stage of qualifying position to be in. So it's really important that we get those. And this is, I guess, where we're being a little bit unlucky. We'll have played 8 games in the group and only 2 of them in the Philippines, which is sad, really. So, I mean, we've beaten Guam and Maldives away already, and the Maldives was quite a tough game. And so it would have been nice to get them here in front of our fans and have our atmosphere. I hopefully by the end of the year, Azkal fans can pour into the stadium and see a team that's vastly improving quickly.
We're all looking forward to that day, Coach Scott. Obviously, many Filipino football fans are hoping that, really the competition will move over to the country, but, that might take a while. But again, you were very competitive in the group. You held China to a scoreless draw. We lost to Syria by 1 goal. Let's talk about the game against China. What kind of adjustments, what aspects of your game do you feel you need to do, just to perhaps change your fortunes when you meet them? Panayam natin kay Coach Scott Cooper. Medyo naubusan tayo ng oras, kaya po pinutol na natin. But nabanggit lang niya, just to summarize some of the things he feels na we are making progress with the Philippine Azkals. Ang laban sa China will be crucial. He thinks that paganda ng paganda ang ating laban, although ang China daw ay may 5 naturalized players na ipapasok doon po sa bubble, doon sa qualifier. And of course, he also believes that to improve Philippine football, we need to continue to regionalize and develop the younger players. So, terrific discussion with Coach Scott Cooper, and we certainly wish him and the Philippine Azkals all the luck sa kanilang paglaban. I think June 3 ang kanilang unang laban against Guam. Then they will play China at tapos po yung Maldives, hoping for a sweep. Malay nyo, suntok sa buwan. Alam nyo naman, ang sports wala naman pong imposible. Basta laban at may puso. Alright, pinag-uusapan po ang puso. Ang ating pinupulsuhan ngayong araw pong ito ay yung tama ba na ang naging desisyon ay piliin si Errol Spence Jr. na labanan si Senador Manny Pacquiao. Mula po sa kay California Love, sabi niya dapat mag-retire na lang mas maraming magagawa if nakafocus sa Senado, lalo na ngayong pandemic, wala na siyang dapat patunayan. Stamp na legacy niya, ginagawa niya na niyang part-time, wag na natin banggitin yun. Mula naman kay Nino Cruz, sabi niya, as long as hindi binayaran si Errol para magpatalo, then this should be awesome. Hindi naman. Ilalaban niya si Errol dahil ang laki naman ng kikitain din niya dito. And of course, talunin si Manny Pacquiao. That is a highlight of your career. Mula kay Jeremiah Paul Vistro, sabi niya, health-wise, hindi na dapat. Too dangerous for Manny. Errol is built like a middleweight and could easily transition to that class in the future. Legacy-wise, ay oo, a win against a younger prime Spence Jr. will further catapult Manny into the GOAT conversation. Sabi niya, imagine Manny, a 42-year-old fighter who dominated 2 previous decades, still managed to beat elite fighters in their prime. That's unprecedented. Sabi naman, meron pa pong mga nagpadala dito, si MGLV and GC at si John Edward Muñoz, isa pong PWD. Marami po salamat sa lahat pa na nagpadala ng kanilang mga opinyon at kuro-kuro. Sana nga po ipagdasal natin ang ating fighting senator na manalo muli sa Agosto 21. At patuloy po natin tututukan yung laban na yan as we come closer to the fight. Of course, kami po ay nagpapasalamat sa lahat sa inyong tumutok na naman sa Power and Play ngayong araw pong ito. Lahat ng ating mga naging panauhin at lahat po ng mga sumuporta sa Power and Play. Next week, isa pong maganda at exclusive na interview ang ibibigay po ng Power and Play. We will announce that very, very soon. In the meantime, kagaya po ng lagi naming sinasabi, tapos na naman ang isang episode ng Power and Play, kaya enjoy lang kayo sa inyong Sabado. Bawal ang masungit! At sa lahat po ng ating gawain, ad maiorem Dei gloriam, all for the greater glory of God. Kami po ang 1PH, teleserbisyo para sa Pilipino. Happy Sports Weekend, mga kapatid! More power, more play.
Welcome to the Giga Life. Your passions, your stories, your life. Simplified with just one app. This is the future. The Giga Life in just one tap. Experience more Giga moments when you make the smart choice. With the Philippines' fastest mobile data network. How do I know it's T1? Simple, smart ako.